All right, welcome back to the More Than Different podcast. C-Mac not in the building today, actually out in LA. If you listen to the last episode, we talked about that. I just got back from LA. C-Mac was sent out there for work. I think he booked a surfing lesson for his last day. So what a psycho, but I love it. So we got a good guest today, Dieterle, gonna be a senior at Tufts, plays on the Tufts Men's Basketball Team. I've known Jay for a while, played in the same AAU program as me with Middlesex Magic, a few years above me. Great friend, someone I respect a lot. And he also works for Gold Standard Hoops. We had Coach Giardano, the founder of Gold Standard Hoops, on the podcast about a month and a half ago. It was an awesome episode. Matter of fact, he sung Jay's praises in that episode. So it's great to have Jay on. Jay, how are you?
I'm fantastic, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's a long time coming, man.
It is, yeah. I got a good story because I saw Jay about what was it, about 2 weeks ago at a little
Yeah, two
party
weeks.
in Somerville at I know someone on the Tufts women's basketball team, and I ran into Jay serendipitously, and he was saying he listens to the pod. I said, let's get you on the fucking pod. So
It was meant to be. It was
yeah, it
meant to
was meant
be.
to be. I'm glad we made it happen, and this is going to be good stuff. But tell a little bit about yourself, where you're at. You're going into your senior year, so you're starting to see that next step, looking into your future and how you're making that pivot. Talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. So like I said, going there, like you say, going into senior year, it's crazy how fast it goes. I was a freshman during the whole COVID-19 stuff, so it's crazy. Like I still remember like it feels like yesterday, moving in, wearing a mask, like not being able to like really go out and meet everybody. And now going into my senior year, like it's true what they say, like it flies by. But I've had a blast, and like you said, like kind of looking now into next steps, like what's after undergraduate. And it's funny. I feel like I'm in a unique position because at school I'm a psychology major, clinical psychology, and I'm interested in pursuing that. Like I think mental health, like that's a great field. I want to get into it. I'm passionate about it. Like the treatment side of it, the research side of it. So at Tufts, like I do a ton of work. I work in a research lab at Tufts during my free time, about 10 hours a week. So it's funny, like I have that whole angle where I'm looking into graduate school programs to go get my PhD in clinical psychology. And then on the flip side, like I love hoops, man. Like I've played basketball since I was about 4 years old. This is my third summer now working with Gold Standard and Coach G, and I love coaching too. Like I love training, I love coaching. So I got a couple things to figure out this senior year about which path to choose and kind of see how they intersect. But I got those two angles going for me right now, and I'm very excited for senior year.
Yeah, those are we talked about it on the podcast before, but it's like the key in life is creating good problems, and those are good problems to have. Is you got a bunch of different paths you can go down, and you're in a great spot. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see what you do. It's great seeing what you're doing. I mean, you've been doing a lot of training, right? When did you really
Yeah.
start to want to take that seriously? I know Coach G talked about it on the pod about you coming to
Mm-hmm.
him being like, hey, I want to take this serious. I want to take this to the next step and pursue this and show you that I'm really passionate about it. What was that epiphany, and when did that kind of hit you that you wanted to teach the game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it actually started. I gotta shout out my guys over at Boston Elite Basketball, Kenny Smalls and Terrell Hollins, because those are the two guys that got me into it back in high school. I helped those two out with their workouts when I was in high school. It was for a couple extra bucks, sophomore and junior year of high school, and then I kind of took a break. Obviously during COVID, didn't really do much, but then I started working out actually with G, up at Tufts because he had just started Gold Standard like literally a couple months before we started training with them, all the guys up at Tufts. And I asked him, I was like, "Are you looking for any help?" Like, I kind of missed it. Like, I liked working with the kids, and he was like, "Definitely, man." Like at that point in time, it was literally just him. So I was the first guy that he picked up to work with him, and that first summer, so summer going between my freshman and sophomore year, I was kind of expecting it to kind of just be like a very casual, like kind of laid back, just kind of help G out, rebound a little bit. But like you know how G is, like he
Yeah.
always says nothing casual, and like we grinded that whole summer, and that's kind of when I fell in love with the coaching side because I had never really done it on my own. I had always been helping somebody else out, and I think that summer I trained with about 20 to 25 different kids all throughout the summer, all on my own, which was a crazy step forward because like I was writing workout plans, I was meeting parents, like doing all that stuff. So G kind of pushed me out of that comfort zone that first year, that first summer, 2 summers ago. And honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened because I really fell in love with it. I love seeing a kid's face when something clicks with them, when I'm able to kind of teach them a part of the game that they hadn't realized yet. And when they make that connection and like say like shooting wise, like I help them fix their jumper and they start seeing the results, it's like that's the most rewarding thing for at least for me as a coach, where it's like there's a clear step that I help them take and they're very excited for it. And when the clients are appreciative, like I've gone through now 2 full summers, and at the end of every summer, like I got 5 or 10 kids like writing me a letter saying how much they appreciated my time. Like I've had clients come to my games at Tufts, so it's like creating those relationships with these kids and with their parents is really just like that's kind of unbeatable. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, really, is impacting and giving back your knowledge and your experience. Now, what do you think? You talked about one of the more rewarding parts of coaching and teaching the game. What do you think as a player is the most rewarding part of basketball? Because I think I've now have 1 year college basketball under my belt, and definitely different than high school. But you've been through more than me. Like, what do you think
Mhm.
has been so rewarding about the game of basketball to you?
I think for me, the most rewarding part is honestly probably like all like the relationships that you make throughout it. Like it sounds kind of corny, but like you know how it is.
Yeah,
Like me and you, we met through basketball, and now like we're doing stuff like this. So I think it's just such a like gateway to meeting so many different people, like so many different environments, and you just create. Like I have friends that I played with all the way back in like fifth grade that I'm still friends with that like I'm still talking to, and like without basketball I never would have met them. So basketball has been such like a way to meet people. Like I've been lucky enough to play all over the country at different camps, different tournaments where you just meet random people. The next thing you know, like down the road, you hit them up again, you text them and like see how it is. So I've met so many great people through the game that like you really just can't beat it. I'm sure you kind of feel the same way.
definitely. You realize because basketball is hard, it's challenge, especially at college level, but at all levels you face
Mm-hmm.
challenges. And like when your teammates, like you realize when you go through something hard together, like, and then you look back, it's so rewarding, and you have a level of relatability with guys where like we went through something difficult, or we went through something together that not others couldn't understand because they weren't a part of it. And those bonds
Mm-hmm.
and those conversations and like looking back is always just a great time. I'm real close with a lot of my Magic teammates, a lot of my players I played with growing up, and obviously your college teammates too. I'm always close with my
Mm-hmm.
my guys at Emerson, but yeah, basketball is so rewarding in that way. I'm
It's the
starting,
best.
yeah, even though I'm still got plenty more time playing in college, but I'm already starting to feel what I've heard so many times from older guys, my brother who just finished playing, but like, it goes by fast. You're gonna miss it when it's gone. And you hear it, and when you have so much time left, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. But I'm
It's
starting to
hard to
even,
understand it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel it a little earlier and being like, damn, I really, really will miss this because it's special. Now, taking it back a little, is there something because even when we were younger and you go climbing the ranks, you think you know what college basketball is, but you really don't. Is there something you wish you knew when you were 16, 15, whatever, early in your high school years? Is there something you wish you knew back then that you now know?
Yeah, I think for me personally, like especially going through the high school part of it, like with the whole recruiting process, is that I constantly try to compare myself to the kids around me and like the teammates I had and how they were progressing and how they were getting recruited by colleges. And I thought that like if I wasn't getting recruited by the same level of school that they were, then I wasn't as good as them, or that I wasn't going to have as good of an experience, instead of just kind of focusing on myself and getting to that point. And I feel like when I accepted that, like I ended up in the right spot for me, like going to a Division 3 school in Tufts. Like when I got to Tufts and I realized that this is the right spot for me, this is the right level, I just fell in love with it all over again. Like it was just such like a moment that clicks. Like not comparing myself to my teammates in high school was a big part of kind of like getting ready for college, like being excited about where I was going and not feeling like, oh, I'm going to a D3 school. Like I'm not as good as the guys going to a D1 school. Like this isn't going to be as fun. Like once I accepted that this is the best spot for me, I'm gonna work hard here. I'm gonna have a blast here. Like I got to school, I was ready to go. I was fired up. And then also like when I got to campus, like just soaking it all in, like learning from the older guys. Like when I came in my freshman year, the team was fresh off the school's ever first league title, and I was the only freshman. So I was walking into a group that had just accomplished something that no other group at Tufts has ever done, and I was the new kid. So like kind of leaving my ego at the door that year, even though
Yeah.
despite us not having a season, like we still worked out. Like checking my ego at the door was the best thing I ever did, and not coming in like some hot shot, like I'm gonna kind of change the team. It's like just learning from all the guys who had been before it. I think that was something that helped me adjust, because then they also respected me for that as well. It was a give and take. Like I listened to them, and they're also going to respect me and try to help me along with it.
Yeah, I think that in itself is what's so great about college sports and college basketball is that I've noticed. Yeah, well, you think you're on top of the world when you're in high school, and then when you go to college, inevitably you get humbled because you're a
Right
little
away.
fish in a big pond. You're around grown men, um, and if you don't put yourself in that place, then they'll put you in it. So it's yeah, you get your ego checked for sure, and it's important for
Mhm.
that to happen because if you don't have any humility, then yeah, you're just walking around with your head cut off and thinking bigger than yourself. So were you really strong on playing Division 1? Like in high school, was that kind of the aspiration for a while?
I think like definitely, yeah, like every
Yeah,
kid,
everyone
like
is.
growing up, like they always dream about like for me, like I used to run around in my driveway and pretend I was playing for Duke, like
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Cameron Indoor, like hitting shots there. And it's like as I grow up, and especially I was lucky enough to play on an AAU team with the Middlesex Magic, that like we had games where we played in front of 30 plus Division 1 coaches, like
yeah.
a bunch of D2, a bunch of D3 schools. So I was lucky enough to play in front of them, be exposed to them. Like I talked to numerous Division 1 schools, but I ended up going Division 3. And it's like at the time in high school, I struggled with it because kids around me like were talking to the same schools, and they were getting offered by these schools. And I think, like I just mentioned, like once I accepted that I'm gonna have my own path, and it might not be as similar to the ones next to me, but that doesn't mean A, that I'm not as good as a player, B, like I'm not as worth as them. Like that's kind of when it all clicked for me, when I kind of accepted it, that I'm just gonna focus on the schools recruiting me and end up in the best spot possible. Because I think a lot of kids like kind of get hung up on this like Division 1 or bust route. And like
100%.
there's so much high level basketball at Division 2 and Division 3. Like I didn't even realize that really until like I didn't realize it until I got to Division 3, how good some of these dudes are. Like there are dudes that we play against that could go up and play Division 1 and just bust everybody's ass, like no questions
100%.
about it.
I agree.
So it's
Yeah,
like once I got around and realized that, it was like this whole Division 1 or bust thing is just so blown out of proportion now in AAU, especially. But it's so hard not to get caught up in it, because like that's all like all the offers, like that stuff's great. But once I realized like the level of basketball, like there isn't too much drop off, like that really clicked for me.
yeah. I remember I think it was like my freshman year of high school, and I had some high ambitions. Want to, yeah, same with you. Like you think you can play at UNC or something. I remember my dad asking me, he was like, and my sister at this point was at Amherst, so she's similar experience to you. She played basketball and soccer there at a unbelievable school, great league. And my brother, I think, was just starting his college career at WPI, great school. And I remember he asked me, he was like, if you could go to Williams and they wanted you really bad, or you go to, I don't even want to say the school he said, but a lower Division I school, low academic, and they offered and they wanted you to play there, and I was like, I'm going D1. I don't care what school it is. I was so ignorant and oblivious to both the level of basketball Division III and also the experience of being a student athlete at a Division III school, getting also that experience of being just a regular college student a little bit and being able to experience college. Because yeah, Division I, I mean, Division III is a grind, never mind Division I. But yeah, once you release that burden or expectation of I need to go Division I, otherwise it feels like I didn't exceed expectations or maximize myself. It's no, that's not what measures success. So I totally agree with you. Now let's get into the just the mental, because this is good, because maybe I'll learn a little something from you as a little psychologist. But the mental side of competing in basketball, because it's, people say that's 90% of what it is mental. And I don't know, you can argue the percentage, but it's a huge part of basketball. It's a game of confidence. It's a game of not beating yourself up. How, I guess we could say, how have things you've learned in your major, being, pursuing psychology, has that helped you as you're kind of as a competitor, and maybe wisdom you're giving some of the kids you're teaching the game to?
Yeah, I definitely think majoring in psychology, learning about that stuff helps, but also coaching, being on the other side of the game and having to coach players who are going through that struggle gave me such a great perspective on being a player and going through it, if that makes sense. So I get to see the kid get frustrated with missed shots, and I can relate to him, but I also understand how to talk him off of it and not get discouraged. So having that perspective as a coach has been so good. So now it's when I go into a game and I miss my first 4 shots, it's I'm not getting down on myself, because I know as a coach I'd be like, hey, next shot mentality, reminding him of all this stuff,
Yeah.
the classic coach stuff, next shot, just move on. And it's true, as a coach, I say that all the time now, but as a player, you hear it, but you don't really listen or comprehend it when you're in the heat of the game. You're so frustrated, you just want to make a shot. But having that perspective as a coach has helped me as a player kind of move on from making the mistakes. And I think especially I want to shout out Coach G. He coached me Middlesex Magic with karate, and those two guys are, I think, some of the best coaches a player can have, especially on
Oh, yeah.
the mental side and supporting. So I learned so much from them throughout. And also my high school coach, Coach Zalaski at Rivers. I've been so lucky to have so many good coaches in my life that have helped me kind of learn how to deal with the mental side of the game, where it's where now I feel like I can get over pretty much anything that's thrown at me in a game, whether it's not getting enough playing time, missing shots when I'm out there, playing poorly, being frustrated. I've been through it all. I've had coaches to help me through it all, where now it's just second nature, just kind of move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a valuable skill, because a lot of people lack it and they get very distraught. We've all been there, where you just get distraught, or your confidence is just shot if you don't play a lot, or you're missing shots, or someone busts your ass. But a lot of confidence obviously comes from preparation, but a lot of it also comes from your own self-talk. Is there things you tell yourself in your head? Obviously you have the voices of, you as a coach, what you'd say to you as a player, but are there certain things you go to in game? I know I'll try to go to some things, if I'm at the free throw line in a clutch moment, I'll be drill these, you're going to drill these. Cause that's what I'd want to hear from a teammate or a coach. You're about to go drill these. So tell myself that. Are there things you tell yourself?
Yeah, so I would say definitely everything that I do, I've learned to not let stuff be my own fault. Like I'm gonna work my ass off in the off season before a game, before practice, like getting extra shots up, getting extra reps. So I know in those moments, I've done literally everything I can to prepare myself for this moment that I'm so confident in myself and all the work that I've put in that I'm not even like expecting to miss. Like you said, like being like at the free throw line, it's like I've made thousands and thousands of free throws in practice outside of games where it's like it's not even like a thought that I'm gonna miss this. So I think the biggest thing is just myself is preparing the best I can. So if something goes wrong, I can look at myself and be like, I did the best I could to prepare for that moment. And maybe it just wasn't good enough, but I know I can sleep at night because I didn't leave anything on the table in the off season, like resting or anything. Like I put all the work I possibly could in that I'm the best version of myself. And I just like, I feel confident in that. I feel confident in all the work that I put in.
Yeah, feel that peace. I like that a lot. All right, well, let's transition into a few questions we always ask our guests. And Coach Giordano, still to this day, probably has the worst response we've seen. But what are your best habits and what are your worst habits? Let's start with your best habits.
My best habits? That's a good question. I think my best habits is that I'm an extremely organized person, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what like task it is. So like workout wise, like I'm very organized about when I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do. Like there's no like walking around, no wasted time. And same like with schoolwork. It's like I'm very organized with all that stuff, like planners, like planning everything out, being on top of my stuff. So I think my best habit is definitely how organized I can be. But I think my worst habit, I'm starting to shake it, but I got a bad habit of pushing everything to the last minute. Like I can plan it out, but like I'm planning it out to the very last second that I need to get it done. Um, but it's funny because I work with G and he's always on me about getting my stuff in, getting like my client workouts in a little bit earlier. But I procrastinate a little bit. Like I'll plan it out, but it will be planned out to the very last second possible.
So are you planning out your day in the morning? Like you say you're organized, like it's more of a quality. So are you like planning out your day? Is that the habit?
Yeah, so like especially during the school year, like you know how it is with like practice and like you got workouts and school and everything. So like I'll wake up and like while I'm eating my breakfast, like I have a planner that I'll just write down. I'll be like, all right, class at this time and this time. In between, I'm gonna go to the library and do this amount of homework and get that done. And then after practice, I'm gonna go get shots up and then come back and eat dinner. So it's like especially during the school year, I found like I sit down every morning and I just write all my stuff out for the day. So like I can just go through my day and there's no like, oh, like I got 30 minutes here. Like what should I do? Like everything's kind of planned out for the day.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've been working on that too myself this summer. I'm not great at it, but yeah, because I'll have just down periods where I'm like, oh, what should I do right now? And it's like if I should
Yeah.
just plan it out. That way I avoid
Hmm.
those moments.
It's helpful. Yeah. Cause it's easy to slip away and just end up sitting on the couch. And next thing you know, it's like hour and a half goes by and you're like, damn, like I
Yeah.
have so much homework to do now.
Yeah, the old let me take a quick 10-minute nap turns into an hour and a half. Yeah.
Exactly.
That one's
Exactly.
brutal. I don't miss that. So yeah, so would you consider playing a fifth year? Because do you have the fifth year? You do have the fifth year, right? Are you the
Yeah. Cause
last?
my freshman, yeah, I think I'm the last class to have the fifth year. Um, Yeah, so that's like another thing kind of goes back to trying to figure out what's next after senior year. Because like I love Tufts. Tufts has been such a good spot for me. Um, like I love the people, I love the school, I love the location, and I love playing hoops. Like I've like I said, I've been playing it since I was 13, and like it's crazy. Like you kind of get to college and you start seeing the end of it. So it's like I do like the idea of holding on to for one last year. But I also understand when it's time to move on, and I'm definitely considering it. But I think if I had to choose right now, I'll probably move on, and either like pursue a graduate degree somewhere, or we could try to stay in coaching at some level. But I think right now I'd probably pass on that last year, but nothing's out of the question yet. Like
Yeah, right.
I haven't said no, nothing's out of the question. I'm keeping everything open, like I said, until the very last second that I
Yeah.
got to decide.
No, you're gonna have a huge senior year. I'm fired up because we play you guys again at Tufts. You
We're
were
gonna get it
injured
done again
last
this year.
year. Yeah, I can't wait. That'll be awesome. That'll be a full circle moment for us. But I realized it too. Like I'll not downplay, but in the last few years, like I basketball has just become so normal in my life and something I love doing. But I recently have just been realizing like how much I love it. Like whether I push that part away about how much I love it, or like I try not to associate just who I am with basketball. It's something I do. It's not who I am. But at the end of the day, like I love
Mhm.
it so much. Like yeah, I've been realizing that more and more lately. Like it is just the greatest game, and yeah, it
Mhm.
teaches you so much, just like the mental side of things, how to deal with adversity, and it's just fun, man. It's fun. So, regardless, you
It's
think you want to stay in the game involved?
100%, man. Like you said, like I love the sport. Like it was something actually. It kind of clicked more last year. Um, because one of our seniors last year, Tyler Aronson, like me and him, like we played in high school together. We played at Tufts together. And I remember someone he said he was like, you gotta like every time you step on the court or in the weight room, like you gotta realize like there's a certain number of these that you have left every single time you step on the court, and you got to treat every single one like if you truly love it, you got to treat every single one like it's your last. And that's something that just really clicked with me. Like I'm sure you do it, but like all those off season workouts, like in the weight room, like all like the sprints that we do, like they stink in the moment. Like they suck. Like I hate them. But like at the end of the day, like I love them because like we're all our teammates are in it together. Like you're with this group of guys that like you spend so much time with. So it's like I definitely don't want to give that up. Like I love being a part of a team. I love going through like those hardships with guys. So however I can stay in it, like whether it's coaching, whether it's training, like however it is, I'm definitely not giving up basketball just because I'm not on a team playing anymore.
Yeah, I can't. I think I'm gonna walk away from the game, but I'm not gonna walk away from the game. I'll be involved in some form. Maybe we'll start up an MTD AAU program or something. But
Hey, if you need a coach, just let me know. If you need
yeah,
a
oh, yeah.
coach, just let me
Hey,
know.
we're gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to really give you a better offer than G because I bet G doesn't want to let you go. Yeah, but all right. Let's ask one final question. I know you got a buzz. You actually got a summer league game, right? So
Yes,
what
sir.
does let's see, what does oh actually let's go this coming year for you and in the next year. It doesn't need to just be basketball wise, but what does success look like to you to finish out your college career? What will you be able to walk out of college feeling like I'm where I want to be and I'm leaving feeling like I have momentum going into the next chapter of my life? What
Mhm.
would this time next year, what do you hope to have
Mhm.
accomplished?
I think success for me, like obviously you can measure it like basketball wise, like how many wins we get, like how you play individually, like in the classroom, like grades. But I think for me, like if I can do something every day to become a better version of myself, like I call that a win. Like whether it be working out a little bit more or studying a little bit more. Like if I can just approach each day with a mindset where it's like I'm just gonna do a little something to make myself a little bit better. So then by the end of the year, like you had 365 days where you got a little bit better, all of a sudden you're the best version of yourself at the end of the year. And that's really the only goal is like just keep bettering yourself every day, be the best possible version. So I think that's just what I try to do, especially going into senior year, like one more year in college, one more year with a team, leading a team. Like I think just being a little bit better each day. I think that's my goal, and that's how I'm going to measure success.
Awesome. Well, I have no doubt that you'll have an abundance of success. Hopefully not when we play you guys, but I do hope you have I do hope you have a terrific game. I just hope
Just
we
not that
win.
game. No, no, no.
Yeah, I just hope we
I
win.
appreciate that.
But Jay, I'm glad we made this happen. It started as a partially drunk conversation, and it turned into a terrific podcast. So this is awesome. I'm glad to have you on. Um, Coach Dieterle, what's give a little plug, socials, all that. What should we know?
Yeah, so follow at Coach.Dieterle, all the content, all the gold standard stuff. Everything gets posted through that, and then follow Gold Standard Hoops on Instagram. We got everything from all the way from youth elementary school stuff all the way to professional hoopers coming in. Like we got Pat Connington, Duncan Robinson. We got those guys in the gym this summer. So follow all that stuff for that content. It's gonna be a big summer.
I love it. I should have worn my spread the work shirt. I love that shirt. I love spread the work.
Yeah, G made sure I was plugging the company with the hoodie, so I
Yeah,
had
it
to
looks
represent.
sharp. Yeah,
Had to
get on
represent for us.
goldstandardhoops.com. Got some good stuff. Well, Jay, thanks for coming on. You're the man, brother, and we'll
Yes,
stay in
sir.
touch. All right. Let's get in the gym too. All
Absolutely. I
right, man.
appreciate it, man. I had a blast. Thank you.
All right, Jay. Take care, brother.